The next step in developing this design might be to put a rectangle down in this area and we'd hard pave it. So it's draw, rectangle, and the prompt down in the command area says specify the first corner. Again, I'll use entity snaps, let the software do the hard work, it latches onto the appropriate point, and then for the second point of the rectangle we do that. There are a number of ways that you could indicate that that is going to be a paved area, but one way is to hatch it. So draw, hatch, and you need to select a hatch pattern. If you click in here, you can see we have lots of different hatch patterns that are available to you. They're the same hatch pattern file that comes with AutoCAD. And I'll select this angle, even though it's angled steel, it might give us an interesting graphic result. So I'll pick entities and pick the rectangle, then hit the OK it, and in it goes. So there's our hatch pattern. Its scale is far too dense. We want to make that, maybe I'll try a scale of 5, and that gives me an interesting hatch pattern. It'll do for the moment. So we now have a rectangle in that area that's going to be paved. We might well have a 3-foot wide path here, and to do that you could use the offset command. Offset, select the objects. This line is going to be offset. Hit enter. What's the distance for 3-foot wide path? Specify a point on that side, and we're done. Now we might want to extend that line to the boundary or just leave as is. I can draw another line from the end there and then down. Draw line again, pick up the end, and then we'll come down. Now we could say perpendicular or pick an end point. So we'll say let's go perpendicular to that line, and in goes the detail we want. So we have a path there, a paved area here. I'll move our north indicator selected and move it out of the way. I'll pop it down there for the moment. And what we want to do is to copy one of these paving bricks. So we'll copy from, say, there to there to, say, something. It's a little tricky because the angle is not quite the angle that I want. So there's two extra paving bricks done. I'm just debating whether to rotate at that point and then come down. I think that would make a more attractive design. The other alternative would be to rotate these two. So we'll try both. So rotate, pick in there, and then bring the pavers like so. We then need to move the pavers into position like that, and they clash a little with that symbol. One way of dealing with that is to right click and scale and just move that symbol or reduce the size of that symbol a little. So I think we can copy that paving brick now from, say, there to there. Now we have a clear distribution point from the paved area, which might well be under a pergola, onto a path and out into the lawned area. So we have maybe a crushed aggregate path running through here. We'd probably want to bring that around the corner, and I would assume that the boundary line, let's pick up that boundary line, I would assume that boundary line now would then run down in that direction. So we'd probably want to offset that by 3 feet as well. Modify, offset this line, enter, give it an offset distance of 3, and we're done. We'll use the extend command now and extend this as a boundary edge and extend that line there. Repeat by right clicking and say that's going to be our boundary line, and extend that through. So now we need to trim, and this can be the cutting edge, and we take that line off. Now leaving a very narrow strip like so is possible, let's just check its width. What have we got? 0.4 of a foot. So we can certainly put a climber in an area such as that. Quite what's going to be done in this area, I'm not sure. We don't have the details of the footprint of the house. So there's our design taking shape rather nicely. We might want to decide to put some sort of screen through here, and that would be done by draw rectangle and just arbitrarily for the moment put some sort of screen in there, and this could be an area for a vegetable garden done with a rectangle like so. So you can see our design is taking shape rather nicely just by picking and using some of the commands that are available to us. Remember, printing is relatively straightforward, and a preview will give us some idea of how our design is going. You may remember previously we set up a window around the whole design. We've increased the size of it now, so we need to hit Escape, go to File and Print, and pick a larger area, and we might want something like that. Now if we preview it, we've got our design sitting on that architectural C-size sheet, and the degree of detail is good. We haven't added any text yet. We need to label things. We need to label our plant species, our vegetable garden and screen and so on. But that's for the next stage of this design work.